About 1 in every 13 adults will have PTSD at some point in their lives, according to national data.
And it can affect people of all ages. So joining us this National PTSD Awareness Month to help us better equip the community is Dr. Jennifer Harnett-Adams, clinical psychologist with HCA Health One. Welcome. Thank you for being here. This is such an important topic, and I'm glad that we're discussing it. What exactly is PTSD, and how can it be different from like typical stress, typical grief?
So PTSD is something that one experiences after having a traumatic event. Oftentimes we think of a traumatic event as being, in combat or a serious motor vehicle accident or having a physical assault, but it can also be witnessing something scary happening to a friend or a family member. A lot of people experienced PTSD after having a medical trauma or supporting a family member through that. And so typically there has to be like that event that kind of kicks off symptoms. And those symptoms that result from that event would look like re-experiencing, like having scary dreams or vivid memories, having disturbance in mood, having some avoidance of the things that remind you of the event, and just some other symptoms like that. So.
Are there common misconceptions about PTSD and how and who it affects?
Well, PTSD can affect anyone because, again, the critical factor is that you've had a scary experience. So I think a lot of times people think like, oh, that won't happen to me, or I might be having all these scary dreams or thoughts about it, but it'll go away. It's not something to address. But really, if one is having serious symptoms after a scary event, getting support afterwards is great, even in the first few weeks or months right after that.
How common is PTSD? Is it more common now, or just people more feeling like the stigma's diminished and they're more, I guess, empowered to talk about it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think people do talk about it more. I think there's more awareness in the community. I think given, some events that we've had, locally and across the nation, COVID, all of those kinds of things, just, make us more aware of how, the things that we go through every day impact us.
Is this something you can, I don't know if this is the right word, recover from or heal from, or does this stay with us forever if we experience it?
Absolutely. There are definitely lots of treatment strategies that are out there available that, people can work through on their own. Things like, sort of do-it-yourself things. If people want to try that before reaching out for therapy can be helpful. Things like journaling, talking with a friend. There's even some newer research showing that Tetris, playing that in the immediate aftermath of a scary event like a motor vehicle accident can sometimes help. But if symptoms last beyond those first couple of weeks, that's a great time to reach out to your healthcare provider or a therapist.
And if we have a loved one that we feel is dealing with PTSD, what's a great way to start a conversation with them without them feeling like, that they're being judged?
Yeah, just checking in with them and saying like, hey, that car accident that you went through the other week, that was a really scary thing. How are you doing with that? Kind of listening for, what things they might report with it, or if they just completely shut you down and they're like, I don't want to talk about that, and then just sort of expressing support and concern and normalizing the fact that, it's not out of the ordinary to struggle after something really scary happens.
An important topic. Dr. Harnett-Adams, thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Thanks.